Hi, Candace. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to ask this question. This is a very explosive question, but you've said that you're a big believer in free speech and discussing controversial topics.
Sorry, big believer in what?
Free speech and
Yes.
discussing controversial topics.
Yes.
In your most recent interview with Rabbi Barkley, I believe,
Yeah, that was yesterday.
he said that Jews that don't support Zionism are essentially self-hating Jews.
Yeah.
Is that Jewish people who don't support Israel, you are saying they are anti-Semitic. I just want to understand that.
I'm saying it very clearly. They are self-hating Jews. Let's use that term very specifically.
Okay.
Recently, Kristi Noem, who is on the short list for Trump's vice president pick, passed the Ensuring the Security of God's Chosen People law in South Dakota,
I didn't know this.
effectively making it illegal to be anti-Semitic. Richard Nixon said that Zionist Jews in America believe that putting Israel first does not mean you're putting America second.
Let me explain something about what is called the Jewish lobby in this country. Now, as good Americans as they are, they believe that America's survival and security is directly related to Israel's. In other words, their belief is that being for Israel first means that does not mean you're putting America second, because they think it goes together.
The definition of a fifth column is a group of persons inside the battle lines of a territory engaged in a conflict who secretly sympathize with the enemy, also sometimes referred to as a Trojan horse. The ADL trains every new FBI agent on their role as protectors of the American people and the Constitution. Nancy Pelosi said, if the U.S. Capitol burns to the ground, the one thing that will remain is our support for Israel.
If this Capitol crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to Israel.
In 1968, Zionist Jewish citizens were declared to be Poland's enemies and were denounced as a fifth column. ADL is an organization that associates America First patriots with extremism, terrorism, and bigotry. My question to you is, what is so extreme about wanting to preserve this country's national identity and putting America first? Do you think a special interest group like the ADL lobbying for bipartisan support of Israel's interests before the United States would qualify them as a fifth column? Thank you.
I want to thank you, Democrats and Republicans, for your common support for Israel, year after year, decade after decade. No matter on which side of the aisle you sit, you stand with Israel.
Thank you for your question. It's a loaded one, trying to get me in trouble. And I will answer your question. First and foremost, I think that lobbying should be banned full stop. I think our politicians are bought and paid for. When we're talking about a swamp, and if you want to know the reason why they go to DC and they never want to come out, it's because they're making money 1,000 different ways because of lobbyists. The biggest lobbies, obviously Big Pharma, which I dedicate all of my time talking about, and your AIPAC, ADL. Obviously we understand that there is a very, very powerful lobby, that's pro-Israel and, in DC. Now, in terms of my own viewpoints on it, just like I said, I think lobbying should be banned. I think it's wrong. There's nothing wrong with being America first. I find it to be extremely odd why this has become so controversial to say that we should deal with the problems at home first before we focus on the issues that are abroad. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I would hope, going back to what I said, that these things, instead of people, smearing and libeling will just be deemed common sense. Like if your house is on fire and your children are inside, you don't go help the neighbor next door, and deal with their own fire. Like you deal with the problems at home. We have a wide open border and our politicians are demanding that we help secure Ukraine's and Israel's. And that doesn't make sense to me. And, like I said, as of recent, I think that's probably what's inspired all of these, rabbi attacks against me. But I've always been unapologetically America first, and I hope that people hear that and know that it's got nothing to do with any, I'm consistent about that, whether it's Afghanistan, Ukraine, Iran, any country, like America first. When I walk down the street and the roads are paved, when the border is secured, and, we are not dealing with a criminal crisis in all of the cities across America, and life is great and my taxes are low, and you come to me and you say, can we send money overseas? I might be like, yes, let's do it. Until then,
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for your question. It's a loaded one. You're trying to get me in trouble.